It's your boy T-Bird and Reaction. Today is Wrestling Wednesday. Yeet. So, about to keep continuing with the wrestling flashback videos of wrestling getting 2 reels. Well, 2. I just got finished doing the reacted to the 10 WWE storylines canceled because of real life drama. Now we're going to get to 10 WWE wrestlers who went out the script and got way too real. You know, sometimes real life issues can be brought in to make the promo or the segment spicy. And you see my little Batman, little in the back, taking control of my DJ 505. Hope you don't mess around and knock it down over himself. But anyway, without further ado, let's check out 10 WWE wrestlers who went off script and got way too real. Let's get it.
1, 2. Is this on?
Wrestling can often be at its best when it's real, like when promos and storylines are built around the wrestlers' real lives.
You're gonna be just like you are outside of the ring. Alone. What is that record? 0-3?
Yup.
Woo! Hey, Tiffany, is that why Kaiser's in my DMs?
Yup.
Or when you can clearly tell the talent isn't following a script.
If you, Kevin Nash, don't live up to expectations, you could be joining the unemployment line with your buddy Scott Hall.
Oh! You poked the hole. I know you think they did that. Yo!
They might be having
That's
fun.
probably way too real. They probably really did that out of off script because you know the situation between Vince and Dylan in the first place. Wow.
Speaking emotionally from
And
the
you know Scott Hall being dropped because of his substance abuse as well too, which is kind of personal. So you know. You talking about my friend like that? Yeah, I will do this. If that was my homie, you gonna shit talk my boy while he's away. Ooh, I talk to you gonna crash talk my boy while I'm away because his demons he's dealing with. Then yeah, I'll do the same too. No problem. Probably more.
We'll be covering a mix of examples today, ranging from segments that went off script.
Big Daddy Cool the Rock's ass more like Big Daddy Bitch.
This is going to get completely out of hand.
We're in a position where we're not allowed to say anything really derogatory. They can say, "Oh, Big Daddy Bitch." He went, "Bah, bah."
To ones where the content was grounded in reality.
Your own sons don't call themselves Waller. Why? Why? Because they're ashamed of your ass.
Today, we list 10 WWE promos that got way too real. When Roddy Piper returned to WWE in 2003, he was immediately paired with Vince McMahon, 2 men who have had a love-hate relationship over the years. They squared off against each other during a Piper's Pit segment on the April 10th SmackDown. The promo began with McMahon insulting and trying to humiliate Roddy.
It's almost like he was trying to take over Piper's and kill that thing up.
The last time I saw a belly that size, Mae Young was 9 months pregnant. And she had a hand. Looks like you're working on twins.
Hot Rod struck back by listing off McMahon's failed business ventures.
First thing you did was become a rock and roll promoter, and you went what? Broke. There was the Bodybuilding Federation.
Yup.
Oh, what's a good one? Oh, would that be XFL? Is that it? Oh, that was a big one. The only job you've been able to hold is the one your daddy gave you.
Wow, that's crazy. And thinking about it though, you probably was like, it's another. It's kind of same with that drum with Heyman promo towards Vince towards the end of the invasion angle as well too. Like you're supposed to be rooting against the person who's dropping the bomb, but at the same time, it's like he ain't saying no lies, but it's like damn, because I think the time Piper was the heel of the time, well too, with being paired with Sean O'Hara, God rest his soul, and hope I said the name right, and Vince I think was like de facto facing away somewhat, but you know Vince is Vince, so yeah, it's like 50-50. It was 50. It crazy. It's always like 50-50 when it comes to Vince situation as well too, man.
Vince then got called the name he has legitimately despised his whole life.
Junior.
Former WWE head writer Brian Gewirtz revealed in his book that this segment was mostly done on the fly, with only a brief outline of where Piper and McMahon were going to go with it. Both men were ultimately happy with the promo following its conclusion. Gewirtz did however reveal that Vince was furious at Piper for going off script and swearing at WrestleMania 21 2 years later.
Who is the biggest rebel in the history of of the WWE. Bullshit.
Every time Piper would drop back into WWE, he'd always cut one hell of a promo. Another memorable one came on the February 16, 2009 episode of Raw, in the build-up to WrestleMania 25, where Roddy would be one of 3 legends to battle Chris Jericho. By this point, the WWE kept trying to give Hot Rod scripts for his promos, only to get upset when he went off track. Realizing this, Chris told Roddy to throw the script out of the window, so they could go out and cut their own promos.
And I said to Roddy before, I said, Roddy, don't worry about the script, just be Roddy Piper, the greatest promo of all time.
This feud came off the back of the movie The Wrestler, as Jericho scolded the old WWF legends from the past, still hanging on to past glories, just like Mickey Rourke's Randy the Ram character in the film.
All of the washed up
that
been
I ain't gonna lie, that was actually a good little segue of a rivalry as well too, bringing in the movie to promote the movie Wrestling and bringing that little segue like that. That was actually kind of genius. I definitely admired WWE for doing that as well too. And then me watching The Wrestler got me more in depth of what happens go behind the scene. Like I stated, it's literally like the first time I had heard about blading as well too. Be honest,
losers who are holding on, leeching off this business, begging for one last run at success.
It's crazy. It's sad that half the guys in that ring is gone, man.
Piper responded with an impassioned promo. He stuck up for the movie and how it mirrored so many wrestlers' real-life struggles.
The movie is not about a bunch of old-timers that want another run. The movie is about the pain, physically and emotionally. And most of all, why we do what we do? For the thrill of performing.
Roddy reflected on some of his greatest moments, including the previous year where he returned for the Royal Rumble, and how the thrill was still there.
24,000 people jumped to their feet in just for 1 second, Chris. I felt like I was back in the first WrestleMania.
Hot Rod finished by saying how despite the pain, he still goes out there for the roar of the crowd.
I have one hip and I hurt all the time. But as long as these folks here say so, I will crawl down here on my hands and knees to give them one more memorable moment, because old school's cool.
What a way to close out such an incredible emotional promo. It still gives us goosebumps watching it back today. Paul Heyman is famous for his...
You gotta give props to the Piper, man. He definitely loved the business, man. Like, and he had some, he was kind of down, known as a heel at time. He had some great face runs as well too. The earlier one, the face run he had during his times at WWF, one we came back during WCW against the NWO situation, and then me personally, low key favorite ones was him playing the interim president, and had a little feud with Goldust and then match, the impromptu match at WrestleMania. I liked it. I don't care. I liked that little thing. It was interesting as well too. Now, this is a good one right here.
Various shoot promos and incorporating real-life drama into the show. One such example saw him come at Jerry the King Lawler during an in-ring debate on the March 10th, 1997 edition of Raw. Jerry kept throwing insults at Heyman and ECW.
You never earned anything in your life. You're a 35-year-old man who still lives with his mother and father.
That motherfucker was 35. Well, yeah, it's true, because he was like, if you saw his picture when he was like a reporter back in like the early 80s, late 70s, you would think he was already like 16 or 17 years old. It's a picture of him with like I think it's with Freddie Blassie, something like that. He was like 16 or 17 years old in that joint, and then another one he was like 19.
Huh? If it wasn't for your mom and dad who financed this bunch of crap, you wouldn't be anything. You understand that?
So Paulie dangerously fired back, mentioning a case from 1993 where Lawler was charged with violating a 13-year-old girl in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm shooting with you. That's right. Yeah. Hey,
How you doing at the Seesaws in Louisville, Jerry? Huh?
Heyman also brought up how Jerry's sons didn't use the Lawler name while wrestling.
Your own sons don't call themselves Lawler. Why? Why? Because they're ashamed of your ass.
Paul to the shot.
I did not know his another son. All I knew about is Brian, God rest his soul, aka Grandmaster Sexay. But I didn't know he has another one. Wow.
King again years later during the roast of WrestleMania in 2025. Heyman roasted host Tony Hinchcliffe for looking like a 12-year-old before then taking aim at Lawler.
My kid's a 12-year-old, and to be honest with you, if you look around sometimes, they're probably the smartest people in the room. Let's be nice to the 12-year-olds. One of them is getting married here down the road later to Jerry the King Lawler.
Whoa, shit, yeah. They was talking about how bad that roast was. It was too ridiculous, and yeah, I can see why. Damn. Yeah, that was wild.
Charlotte Flair's feud with Tiffany Stratton going into WrestleMania 41 will be remembered for Charlotte being heavily booed each week.
Oh no, I'm sorry, they're booing so loud. What would Chicago, guys, what would you like me to say?
With the most famous prominent example
that's in Chicago, so that's probably why she said she hates Chicago right now.
being on the April 4th, 2025 SmackDown in Chicago. After being pitted with boos from the crowd, the Queen began to go off script by making fun of Tiffany's voice.
And you may be the queen inside of the ring, but outside of the ring, you ain't the queen. What are you saying?
Oh!
I can't hear you, Tiffany.
Yup.
It's so squeaky. I can't hear you. Like, oh my God! What are you saying, Tiffany?
Stratton replied with an off-script line of her own by bringing up Charlotte's 3 divorces.
And when I beat you at WrestleMania, Charlotte, you're gonna be just like you are outside of the ring. Alone. What is that record? 0-3? Woo!
Flair hit back with a Conor McGregor-style insult relating to Tiffany's boyfriend, Ludwig Kaiser.
Right.
Your wife is in me DMs, hey baby.
Right,
Hit me back up, we'll chat to you later on. We'll be at the after party, the win nightclub.
Hey, Tiffany, is that why Kaiser's in my DMs?
In modern times, we all know about Cody Rhodes finishing his story, where he became the WWE champion as a labor of love to his late father, Dusty, who never got to officially hold the Federation's title. Terry Funk's iconic Our Way promo in Extreme Championship Wrestling spoke of a similar goal. Terry's father, Dory Funk Sr., never got to be world champion, despite it being a dream of his up until he passed away at age 54 in 1973.
That was what he wanted to do all of his life. He wanted to be the world's champion. It never happened. The reason it didn't happen because in 1970,
he's so much like his father. It's not even funny. Like is like candy. All 3 of them look like him, his brother Dory, and him looks just like a father.
June of that year, my father had a massive heart attack while he was wrestling.
By January 1997, Terry was already a former NWA and ECW champion, but the 52-year-old wanted to...
Hold on a second. I'm bad. Little man had a little visitor. But anyway, let's keep going with this. Let's get it.
Win the ECW title one more time before he retired, ahead of the promotion's very first pay-per-view, Barely Legal.
Now, 24 years later, here I am. I guess I'm a dreamer too. I want to be world's champion.
But Terry wasn't going to just do it for his father. Funk also wanted to do it for the ECW fans, who welcomed him with open arms and helped revitalize his career.
I want to do it for all you hardcore fans out there. I want to do it for all of us old farts. But most of all, I want to do it to fulfill my father's dreams.
And for the underground company that was revolutionizing the entire wrestling industry in such an organic and authentic way.
Not like the WWE. Not like the WCW.
With tears in his eyes, Funk imagined what would happen if he won the ECW title, where it would be Terry and the fans with their arms in the air saying, "We did it our way." It's hard not to get chills watching this promo back.
I don't want to stand out there and say I did it my way. We did it our way because we love it that way.
And it was made all the more sweet when Funk won the ECW championship at Barely Legal 3 months later. What a way to finish the story.
Has done what we all thought was damn near impossible.
The NWO's return in 2002 didn't meet expectations, especially when it came to how they were booked, and by the summer of that year they were almost toast. One of their final blows came courtesy of the chairman, as Vince called out the group's performance thus far on the June 24th Raw.
Yeah, pretty much that was slowly the nail in the coffin. It was, we thought was be the nail in the coffin of Vince McMahon to WCW, until Sting finally came to WWE and then did not have him win his match against Triple H. I don't know if it was a Triple H call or Vince call, but that definitely was short of the big nail to the coffin of WCW right there. Oh man.
During his infamous Ruthless Aggression promo, McMahon mentioned Scott Hall's recent firing, while also throwing shade at the injured Kevin Nash. Nash wasn't aware what Vince was going to say, so naturally responded in kind.
If you, Kevin Nash, don't live up to expectations, you could be joining the unemployment line with your buddy Scott Hall.
That's probably a real one right there. He probably was
Head writer Brian Gewirtz would later reveal that McMahon began to tighten up the layout for segments that bit more following this promo. That's because the boss wasn't happy about the unscripted gesture and wouldn't have approved it otherwise.
Was Kevin's brilliant finger gesture a shoot or a work?
A shoot.
Nash, on the other hand, wasn't happy with how the New World Order had come into WWF, especially on their first night when The Rock made fun of them, highlighting the group's past characters in the Federation.
You, Chico, Razor Ramon.
Oh, yeah.
Big Daddy Cool, Diesel.
Nash felt this took away from the NWO's heat, even though they'd get the revenge on the People's Champ the next day on Raw. It was a similar story the night after WrestleMania 18, when the Great One hit Kevin with an unscripted line.
Big Daddy Cool The Rock's ass more like Big Daddy Bitch.
Yup. Yeah, if you think about that though, it's like, I get what he's trying to do to bring in WO, because they didn't bring it around time because the town were nonsense during the invasion, but at the same time to bring back the for Rock to do that, I mean, it was funny and cool in the way, he was a babyface there, but at the same time, outside of that, if you think about it, it kind of like ruined the whole persona of NWO in a way, where the way WCW kind of presented in a way. So yeah, it definitely was a nail of comfort to WCW from Vince right there.
We're in a position where we're not allowed to say anything really derogatory. He said, "Oh, Big Daddy Bitch." He went,
Nash felt the line was unprofessional and even responded during a match with Rock later in the week on SmackDown.
That was a good shoot, okay.
Called him on Raw Monday night.
In his book, Brian Gewirtz also spoke about how the famous promo featuring The Rock, Stone Cold, and Hulk Hogan from WrestleMania 30 was scripted very loosely in fear of anything leaking, since Rock and Austin hadn't been advertised for Mania. Gewirtz said that Hogan was only told about his part and didn't know when Rock and Austin would interrupt him, nor what they would say or who out of the two would come out first.
Okay.
The Hulkster was simply told to go with the flow when Rock and Steve appeared, and then hit his catchphrases at the end.
And you never know when one of those special moments.
That was good. That kind of probably threw him off too. There's been low key beef between Hogan and Austin. Because that was the reason why Hogan and Austin never didn't fight. It was supposed to be Hogan and Austin to fight at WrestleMania instead of Rock, because I think one of them did not want them to lose to the other. I think both was processing against losing to either or. So yeah, if I could comment down below, I could be wrong, but that's what I feel like that was the situation with that.
Hulk ended up botching one of his lines.
WrestleMania 30, right here in the Silverdome. I can't believe I'm the special host.
Yeah, Superdome.
I'm sorry, it is the Superdome. There you go.
Which The Rock and Austin both
later Superdome Hogan.
It made fun of.
You are here in the Superdome without a doubt. It's good to be back here at the Silverdome.
He called it Silverdome.
The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the immortal Hulk Hogan have finally come back to the Superdome.
Like he about to say silver. That was too funny.
While wrapping up one of the all-time WrestleMania segments.
What you gonna do, brothers, when Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, WrestleMania 30, and the Superdome run wild on you, brothers?
That was too funny.
Let's now highlight some more times when The Rock went off script with his promos.
Yeah.
Rock says this.
This what made him who he was, because sometimes he would go off script and it worked.
Oh, it matters what The Rock says.
Yeah.
You took the time to make a little sign. What does your sign say anyway? It doesn't matter what your sign says. Look, now don't give The Rock the finger. There's a big fat bald dude here. Give The Rock the finger. Get a shot of him. Get a shot of him. He's drunk. You're drunk. Sit down.
Especially with the crowd. Yeah, of course, with the crowd. That's what other thing made hot, especially the off the air stuff. Yeah.
Anaheim, I see, right?
How about the time Rock spoke to cosplayers in the front row after hearing the crowd chant Randy Savage as one of the fans dressed up as Macho Man?
This is the time where we go off the script.
Yo.
What's your name? Brother. The weed is good in Miami tonight,
Yo.
obviously.
Who could forget in 2001 when Stephanie McMahon was supposed to cut Rock off but was late in doing so. This meant the Great One had no choice but to go ahead and swear when he wasn't supposed to, which infuriated Vince backstage.
Booker T and Shane, the punk ass sucker, and the silver spoon motherfucker.
The Rock appearances on Raw and NXT at the start of 2025 didn't have much of a script, which was clear based on each of the promos. That's because
we knew that. His little final boss thing, that was not scripted at all. It made the character was like a pivot in a way to get things up. For Cody to spin the story. Well, I'm glad he did, but at the same time, you knew for sure that whole final boss run right there was totally off script, no matter what. Majority of it.
Final boss can pretty much do or say whatever he wants without any consequences.
Facts.
Show is over and then it stops. That. There's nothing that the final boss can't say.
Right.
You shut your mouth, fatty. The Rock will come out there and slap the herpes off your lips.
Yup.
Haven't talked about our family again. Slap his teeth out of his.
Yup. Oh, start right there.
Don't around and get me emotional up in this thing. I'm not.
Yup.
What's gonna happen? I love you too, honey. Thank you for saying that. You sound like somebody The Rock can love, drunk and horny. So tell Mama Rhodes The Rock said hello. They say we got 2 minutes. I'm like, we're gonna go all night.
Yep.
I'm sorry for the language. I apologize.
Randy Orton's work was one of the bright sparks during the period WWE ran shows from the Performance Center. His segment with Ric Flair on the August 10th Monday Night Raw was a memorable one, where both men talked about real-life dramas while also going off script. Orton's promo shunning Flair had to be edited down by a few minutes.
The Ric Flair that I looked up to wouldn't have slipped into a coma, wouldn't need a pacemaker. You were a junkie for the spotlight.
Meanwhile, the Nature Boy wasn't supposed to speak at all, but rather just stand there and take his scolding, as Randy labeled Nature's weak.
He was just supposed to say a few things under his breath that the handheld camera in the ring may or may not have picked up. When he grabbed the mic, I was thinking, oh, come on, Rick. You're not supposed to grab the mic. And then he went on to cut that promo.
Instead of getting mad, Flair praised Orton.
I'm here because I do want your approval, and I do want to be with you. I want you to break my record. Not John Cena's record, my record.
Rick couldn't get angry because
I wonder if they will still do it. You know, John Cena broke his record. I wonder if he will do it. He'll eventually do it soon before he retires. I'm talking about Orton.
He knew how lucky he was to still be alive after the health issues he went through a few years earlier.
Man. After 31 days of being in intensive care and being in a coma for 12 of them, I woke up and all I wanted in life was to tell the people who I hadn't told that I love them.
It was a touching promo and one of the best seen on WWE TV that year.
I called around everybody that mattered to me because you have to.
I know Charlotte was boo-hooing behind all backstage, or wherever she was backstage or watching it on TV. I know she was boo-hooing behind off on that one.
To be this close to where I was, to know what that feeling is.
Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our similar video on 10 WWE.
They're going to monetize this one. The next one probably have 10 this and that or that. Anyway, this was a good video as well too, though. Eric, it's definitely some crazy moments right here. So other than that, if you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Bird signing off. One love.